Okay, all right. So thank you so much for coming back. And once again, I'm sure you all had a good week and good day. Even though you have some difficult at work or house or whatever, just forget. It's past. It won't come back again, right? We talk a lot about impermanence, interdependence, emptiness. It should make like a part of our life. Meaning, need to aware how life goes and then just live with it or learn from it. Right? Okay, anyway, so let's start our today's teaching or session, practice together here. And we need to create some environment for ourselves, meaning, set our proper motivation and why we are gathered here. What is the reason? What is the purpose? What were you looking? And the answer is we are all looking some meaning, some sort of meaning in our life, right? And the meaning or the purpose or the benefit or the, another word you could like, we want to be beneficial for oneself and others. And then and when you talk about the benefiting or beneficial, you could have so many different area for oneself or others. And some people may think it's why you're talking this, but it's really important. It's really important to talk about it. So because of that, it's really important to start with proper motivation. The motivation has to be completely kind of free of selfish, free of uh what do you call it? Another word, the motivation has to be very pure. And we gather here to make oneself, find you kind of right path that lead our life and better, less aggression, less jealous, less attachment, less meaning, minimize, sorry, recognizing the weaknesses of our mind and the body and the speech, and then try to how to really upgrade, how do we really increase the positivity, right? So for that, I guess we need some support from external, meaning from the Buddha, the Bodhisattvas, or any other enlightened, any other, like a role model that we have. So here we are studying about the 37 practice of the Bodhisattvas. So when Bodhisattvas meaning, I think some of you you're new, right? Maybe. To this. Okay. To this geography right here, yes. Okay, but you have studied a bit before, right? Plenty. Oh, good. Wonderful. Way too much. That's nice. Maybe some of you may know more than me, but I mean, even though I studied for a long, long, long time, that doesn't mean I know everything. And we are all on the same journey, learning, exchanging together. That's very important to know. So we are all human being, definitely. And then whether we are really acting as human or not, probably yes. Or maybe sometime we have to check. We have to check ourselves whether we are really doing good human being, whether we are really good human being or not, compare with animals. Are we doing good or are we destroying ourselves and others? It's just up to us to think, right? So let's create, you know, maybe just think about this, someone that you have so cherishable person, or meaning someone who have benefit you very immensely in your life, and most kindest person in front of you. If you find like visualizing Buddhas or Bodhisattvas difficult, but probably not difficult to visualizing Buddhas or Bodhisattvas in front of you. Why not? His Holiness the Dalai Lama is the living. I mean, you call it the embodiment of the Buddha of compassion, and you can, you know, I'm sure you all have seen his picture, or maybe some of you have seen him in person, or even though not. you have heard about him, and you can just think about him, his face. And he often talk about, you know, this year is actually, it's called the Compassion Year, meaning celebrating His Holiness the Dalai Lama's birthday by celebrating his legacy. I mean, his legacy, his action, his work that leave this that impact for many, 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 many living beings on the world and around the world. And you see, it's celebrating the year of compassion. Celebrating year of compassion. Remember that? And why? When you say how can you celebrate the year of compassion by celebrating His Holiness the birthday? He is the embodiment of compassion. He is the person who is tirelessly work for others to giving the message, concrete message, really, really effective message for the world. Let's live together. Let's work together to bring about peace and harmony and happiness for ourselves and our future, our children, right? So because of that, I think it's good to think about him and his work, and then we can act our own part. We can contribute for the peace and compassion for the world, starting with the individually and then expand. So because we all have the seed of compassion or the perfection or the wisdom, and it's just a matter of how can you really cultivate it by learning, by reflecting, by meditating. Okay, so the motivation we are talking, and then also when you're practicing this kind of when you're taking this kind of journey, think about that you're not only just one person doing it. You just think about all other living beings, all other, another word you could use, all dear mother sentient beings. We use this word. It's look, dear mother sentient beings. It is comfortable you to use it? What do you think? Dear mother sentient beings. So you could include every sentient beings. Our living being and sentient being, it has some differences, okay? But don't worry about this. Just think about all sentient beings who wish happiness and peace, and no one wish uneasy or suffering or harsh. So everyone is joining you. So you are actually leading this practice, okay? And then this is very, very important to just think about it. And then, but make sure that your physical body is also really in a comfortable position. And I think I explained earlier. Maybe some of you know already. Make sure your body is very flexible in position. The shoulder, the spine should be straight, and the shoulder is just very relaxed manner. And then if possible, yes, cross your leg as kind of vajra position. We often say that vajra, half full vajra, with full vajra or half vajra. And then the two hand should be on the meditative posture, is called nyamsha in Tibetan. La nyamsha means the hand should be in a meditative position. Nyamsha means actually samadhi. And the right hand on the left top, on the top of the left hand, and slightly touching, not really pressing hard, just slightly touching. And then the two thumb also touch slightly like this, if possible. If someone you have some difficulty to doing that, doesn't matter. The most important thing is straight your spine. The spine should be really straight, and then try not to lean against to the wall if possible. If not, just relax, as just be comfortable whatever way is comfortable for you. And so we do few minutes of meditation, focus on the breathing. And because of that, when you try to focus on the breathing out and breathing in. It's important to make the whole posture, body, all the body, the whole part of your body is very relaxed. Relaxed means don't. Okay, it's exception Neil because he has some chest problem. Otherwise, you have to. If you just lie down, putting head, sorry, feet like this and that, it's not proper in a way. But if there is a health reason, Buddha have given exception for in any situation. If someone have a health problem, then you can just sit or lie down, whatever you want. I think I shared. I think it was good to share. Bodhisattva Shantideva, Guide to the Bodhisattva Way of Life. The text that Guide to the Bodhisattva Way of Life, where it's classical text, but it's very practical in advice that he have given us. So Bodhisattva Shantideva, who was actually a great practitioner of 8th century from ancient Nalanda in India, Nalanda Buddhist tradition in India. And, you know, from outside, when you're looking at him, you know, the majority at the monastic university in Bihar is Nalanda. Everybody is think that he was just doing three things, nothing else. Because you never know. The practice has to be from your mind, right? You know, physically, verbally, people can make, fake you or lie you, or maybe make you, the, if the mind is not really on the right, path, you know, probably nothing could work in a way. Even though whatever way you make like a beautiful word, sweet word, or maybe a sarcastic so smile, it doesn't really happen much. So majority of us, I guess, definitely quite is majority of us may have no capacity to read correctly. Other people mind what is going on in there. So because of that, the many of the other monks were actually making fun of him. He was a great bodhisattva. He was just always meditating, and everybody said he was known as he's doing only three things. And what are the three things? Interesting, no? Is that he eat, sleep, and defecate. That's only he does. That's what everyone else say that for him. And because of that, they're making a lot of fun of him. But in reality, he was practicing patience. He was not really harming anyone. He was really developing his mind. Just try to make some realization, achievement of your mind by observing what others says. I mean, other people make fun of you, you think, and he felt really pity, or he felt really, really compassionate to that person. He haven't done anything to him, but instead of rejoicing, instead of appreciating to what he's doing, they're making fun of him. And then he was really compassionate to that person. And at the same time, he was practicing patience and not angry, it's not really flashing back to them. And that's what he was doing. But then the others think other don't see that. Don't see that. I mean, some of course, but many of them they don't see him. And because of that, and I don't go the whole story. There more stories are there, but majority of the monks or the people around there were saying that he does nothing. He's just eating, sleeping, and defecating. That's it. My gosh. Anyway, this is what this is how mind we are deceiving ourselves in that way. So because of you need to really important to analyze what is going on our mind, and then how can you really shape it, how can you really improve it, right? So I think we are doing too much now. Anyway, well, I was talking about how our mind works. So for beginner, it is very important to like try as much as possible to set a proper body posture, and that way the mind can think clearly. So let's do 5 minutes. We call it shamatha meditation, meaning try to build up this single pointed mind and focusing on the breathing. Breathe, just so do a breathing in, breathing out. Okay, make sure that your eyes not completely closed, half open, half closed. And I said, actually, if you completely close, you can make some exercise yourself. If you completely close, it might just sink. And if you widely open, it get distracted. It just go everywhere. Mind, the mental mind. I'm not saying about the sensory consciousness, the mental consciousness. If you feel, just keep half closed, and then of course, a thought comes, goes. It's just like a bubble or water bubble or a wave in the ocean. The mind is like the ocean, and then all the different thoughts are like a uh, waves of bubble, and you're just aware it goes and comes and goes and comes and go. But right now, what we are trying to do is we just focus on the breathing, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in. Only try to focus only on that very clearly, but very single pointedly. Okay, let's start to do this. You can stretch, you can. Okay. Everybody got a copy? The text? You got it. Okay, good. Okay, so far we're studying the 37 practice of the Bodhisattvas, and we are quite bold, I think, because it's it's advanced teaching if you take like literally, but then you can make it like more flexible too, because according to our own capacity, there's a level of understanding about that. When you say bodhisattva from the beginning, beginning meaning if someone who is not really trained in this path, in the teaching, or haven't heard before, probably if you can find a little difficult, but sometimes it's interestingly, maybe you may have been practicing this teaching already, but you're not aware of it. Another way, because this teaching is only just try to unravel what you're doing. We are all human beings, we do good thing all the time, and then sometimes we do not good thing either. I mean, I not good thing also. And so it's actually it's a kind of guideline of how our life live in right way by removing the wrong thing. This is what this teaching is about. It's not really kind of, story tell, or, it's not history. It's not, politics. It's not about kind of like business. It's not about politics. It's not about anything. It's all about life. How we really live with our life in the right way and good way as a good human being. So, no matter what kind of belief you have, or whether you do not really believe in any religion, but if you are doing really, really, service, charity work, we call it a charity work, right? And many people says like a charity start from home or individual. So this teaching are all about it, taking care of others. And if you're taking care of others in our own, like needs, it just fulfill naturally. So they're very selflessly, like if you're being generous, if you're being good-hearted person, and slowly, everybody will like you, definitely, but without attachment, without mixing this attachment. Of course, dealing with attachment is not easy. Dealing with anger is not easy. Because of that, it is teaching about, how do you really deal with when you have some short temper. What is the consequences of being like a angry person? And what is the consequences of them being patient person, or more tolerant person, more loving person? And this is it's all we can just do each and every moment and every day. But then yes, you need to learn this, point out that this is not right for you, and then point out that this isn't good for you. And because of this is a teaching. So the 37 practice of the Bodhisattva way of life, it has like 37 verses, and each have, I think we did the first 10 finish. Now we are starting on the 11 one. All right, so the 11 one is 12 or 11? Oh, yeah. Oh, right. We did 11 last week, right? And I thought I would share about what is about 11. I mean, just learning the word, it could have different levels of understanding too. All suffering comes from the wish for your own happiness. And perfect Buddhas are born from the thought to help others. Therefore, exchange your own happiness for the suffering of others. This is the practice of bodhisattvas, right? And I thought I said that I will share this 9 step of how to really meditate on the meditation, equalizing and exchanging self with others. Meditating, exchange, and equalizing and exchanging self with others. And this is very important. mm, when you train to cultivate the bodhicitta, bodhisattvas, who is bodhisattvas, meaning, I think we make this differentiation between bodhisattva and bodhicitta, right? A bodhisattva is someone who is courageously, you know, move forward to help others, right? Actively pursuing and actively really in action, practice, compassion put in action. They are the bodhisattvas. And we can stack, fake it and make it. This is what we say. We say we say, right? At the beginning, and ordinary, definitely not easy, but there's a way that you can train. Our mind is very flexible. We can train a lot. We can train it, but then we have to make sure that we are training it the right way, rather than wrong way. So of course we have the habituation about being selfish, being biased person, being kind of angry, being impatient, this kind of thing of there. But don't get that upset. Just aware, just realize that, and then try to minimize it all the time. This is the perfect way to do. And I think all suffering comes from the wish for all suffering comes from the wish for your own happiness. Here, your own happiness meanings the very kind of like a ordinary contaminated happiness, worldly pleasant, worldly, like a mundane person who says, in nature is suffering, but we perceive is happiness, misperceiving. This is what we are doing. And misperceiving that the nature is suffering, but we think it's just happiness. And all suffering comes from the wish for your own happiness, meaning all suffering comes from your own, like a selfishness or egoistic mind or ignorance, not knowing the reality, correctly, not really cultivating the right wisdom. Wisdom meaning a discerning mind that, tally with the reality. It's actually, but we do not really, able to do that because of that, let's see. All suffering comes from the wish for your own happiness. We're just thinking about me is the most important than everything, everyone else. Everyone else just ignoring, just neglecting everyone else. That's selfish, right? And because of that, we suffer. Perfect Buddhas are born from the thought to others' happiness. So the fully awakened person, Buddha here means a fully awakened person. It's actually come from the cherishing others. So the all suffering, another word, all suffering comes from the cherishing yourself, self-cherishing. All suffering, all uneasy thing, all unpleasant thing that we are, experiencing is coming from self-cherishing mind. Thinking about me is the most important. And when you have this strong kind of wish, me is the most important thing, and then it it could create so many trouble. It's quite, obvious in a way if you really contemplate, correctly. So yeah, all suffering come from cherishing yours and ignorance, another one. There's a difference between the self-centered attitude and the self-grasping ignorance. Okay, self-cherishing mind, a self-centered attitude, and then self-grasping ignorance. All suffering comes from the self-grasping ignorance in reality when you're talking about the technically. But self-centered attitudes also create so like all suffering. Because Bodhisattva, sorry, I think I explained a little bit about that. Those who have liberated from samsara, those who have rid of samsara, meaning the suffering and the origin of suffering, They are arhat. Have you heard this word? Arhatship. Arhatship.
Yeah.
For example, it's called, we call it like a Sarvakayana, Pratikabudayana. And they achieve liberation. Another word, personal liberation, meaning they are liberated from the suffering and the origin of suffering. Here, the suffering meanings the contaminated. Uh, okay, samsara. What is samsara? Anybody have any idea what is samsara?
Cyclic existence.
Cycle existence,
Delusional.
delusional.
Cycle of suffering.
Yes, samsara is due to the ignorance, due to the self-grasping ignorance. We create this inappropriate attention. There's a way that how you really take a ribbon into the samsara again and again. Samsara is a suffering beings, and suffering has like many different types of sufferings are there, but it could put into three: suffering, change, and pervasive condition suffering. And it's rooted, ignorance and inappropriate attention, and then creating the karma, the contaminated karma, and then affliction like attachment and aversion mostly. And then because of that, it throw into this suffering, existence. Another word like existence, we often find like existence. Cycle means to go again and again and again repeatedly, right? Cycle means repeatedly, repeatedly taking rebirth into the suffering realm again and again. So Pratikabodayana and Sabakayana, are they can cut the root cause of samsara by applying the wisdom, by cultivating wisdom of emptiness, wisdom that realizes emptiness. They can remove the causes of samsara and the samsara itself. They can cut, meaning they can realize selflessness. By realizing selflessness or wisdom emptiness, by cultivating wisdom emptiness, they can liberate from samsara. And but they may not be remove self-centered attitude. Self-centered attitude. So self-centered attitude is actually the opposite of bodhicitta, other-cherishing mind. Self-cherishing mind or other-cherishing mind. And I think self-centered attitude is a better word in a way. I'm just sure. Self-cherishing mind and other-cherishing mind. Making this self-cherishing mind is, you know, maybe one can ask the question about how come that the arhat who have liberated from the, you know, suffering and the causes of suffering, when is the Four Noble Truth. I think we studied a little bit about the Four Noble Truth, right? Truth of suffering, truth of origin of suffering, truth of cessation of suffering and the origin of suffering, and then the path that lead to cessation. These are the four noble truth, right? And then truth of suffering, and then the origin of what was that? Truth of suffering, and then the origin of the suffering. These two, with these two, we take the rebirth again and again in the samsara. And then the next two, truth of like cessation. Cessation means cessation of suffering and the origin of suffering. By removing the causes of the suffering, ignorance and aversion and attachment, these are three poison. If you remove these three poison by applying the wisdom, then you will be able to achieve cessation. And the path that lead to cessation is we have a four noble path, four noble truth. When if there are 16 aspects of the four noble truth to meditate on it. Meditate on it. Is the first one is impermanence. I think I'm not going to go that in detail, not too much there. It's all like a different kind of area in a way. I mean, it all connected. It's all connected. It's all connected. So now we focus. why we said like personal liberation and Buddhahood. Are you getting it? Personal liberation and Buddhahood. Buddhahood meaning fully awakened, meaning who have removed affliction and cognitive obscuration. There are two main obscuration that stop us to attain fully awakened or the Buddhahood or the nirvana. The affliction is the main obscuration to achieve personal liberation, and then cognitive obscuration is much go in like a deeper, subtler. The cognitive obscuration is remove, stop us to achieve Buddhahood. So to remove that, very subtle, obscuration, what we need to do is just realize the emptiness is not enough. You have to cultivate, you have to strengthen our bodhicitta, our compassion, like very fast, compassion has to make really powerful anyway, in a way. And, then for that, in the understanding of interdependence is very important. Interdependency, I think I mentioned about interdependency, have three level: interdependence cause and effect, interdependence of the parts on whole, and interdependence of mere mental designation. So now, then I think we share about how to the cultivate bodhicitta. It has two method, right? Sevenfold cause and effect, right? I think we mentioned earlier another class, sevenfold cause and effect, and then equalizing and exchanging self with others. So these two methods are there. How do you really do the sevenfold cause and effect? I briefly mentioned, like, remembering all beings once been your mother, and then think about their kindness, and think about their, repaying their kindness, and then, seeing all beings in the light of benefit rather than creating trouble for you, and then good compassion, and then what else are there? Four, right? Thinking all dear mother sentient beings, or all being once your mothers, and then thinking of their kindness, and then thinking of their repaying their kindness, and then seeing all beings in the light of benefit for you. They are benefiting you instead of hurting. If you see them like they are, just think that they are like your own child in a way. The mother always love their child, definitely, right? Maybe when they grow up, a little bit trouble come up. But this happened because of the disagreement. The both party have like, me is important. Maybe the child think me is, but when the child is very little, baby, infant. I mean, I'm sure a parent love their, you know, children, right? Why not? I'm just curious about why
Well,
not?
here in America, in the East Coast, and a lot of mothers are terrible.
Like what?
I don't have an example. I just know that that's the truth.
What percentage? I'm curious,
I
really.
didn't. I just know a lot of people who have terrible mothers. I have known them anyway. I know that
Yeah, there are.
that one truth you're saying is not true, and it doesn't resonate with Americans. Usually, I wouldn't teach it, but you can because it's always taught like.
Mm,
But I think it's caution, big caution.
okay, okay. I read some this kind of like what you're saying in on news, because some people, some mothers who make the baby and they throw into the garbage. But not many, I guess. Hopefully, hopefully not many. The percentage. Really need to. I'm just curious about this. Of course, there are. This happen not only in America. I think it's happened everywhere. And then it could be depend on the
They
causes and
rubber
conditions.
some places, they just throw them out.
Yeah,
Unfortunate.
it is unfortunate. That's really true. And you think it's
It's
a,
strange anyway to me.
what was that?
It's a strange phenomenon to me that a mother wouldn't have natural love, but that is
It's pretty sad, right?
certainly the people who do not have natural love for their children. Very odd.
Okay, you say America, but I'm not
No,
sure.
no, no, it's all over the world, but you
Yes, all over the world, definitely.
gotta know what's happening all over the world. A lot of
Uh,
people don't.
I don't know if they don't have natural love or if it's obscured by other things like addiction or trauma. Like it could be there, but it's obscured by
Economic issues.
like life issues, you know?
Okay, that was I was thinking too,
Yeah.
because you can't really blame the person, the mothers or whoever, and I agree what you're saying too, because in the news there often come that young teenager become pregnant, and then there are some disagreement within family, a rejection, nobody's looking after her, and the people, some culture, they said, what a shame, you are young, you should finish your college, you should get good job, and whatever, this whole thing that coming from, it's called like what, social pressure, another word. And then also, of course, economic, family, and then maybe the father is not really looking after, not responsible. You have to be responsible if someone want to make a baby. You have to have you have to think about it carefully, right? Responsible.
Yeah.
So
Stick with it, but maybe they do somewhere.
right.
Maybe most.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Probably percentage could be there are more this. Yeah, I could see quite often some videos, some news. This thing happen about, the child abandoned, and then some people rescue them, and there are some charity worker who really rescue this, young infant or baby from the garbage bin. Oh my gosh, that's so sad, but really, really sad. And then again, about this abortion thing, it's all about, you know, this is the lack of compassion, right? What do you think?
I don't think a lot of people know how to live, and they don't know how to live good. They're not interested.
So, what
So
do
they
you
just are kind of like instincts running around. Immediate satisfaction.
immediate? That's why.
Judgment after.
All right. So yeah, and then we maybe have, yeah, of course, these are some kind of issues, a concern, and each one of us, we can do our part, right? You know, there are so many other things that in the society happening, but then we can do very skillfully try to rescue or save some other living beings. Why not? Could be baby, could be grown up, could be old people, could be young people, could be someone who is, deprived with the homes or foods or sort of thing, whatever, so we can try our best. We can try our best. I mean what I'm saying. And then if there's a way that you could approach this different area where there's a really the problem is too much, and then something can be fixed, but there's nobody's looking after, nobody's paying attention, that as a citizen, as a world citizen, I don't know, you're American citizen, but we may have some responsibility to do something in your own community. So it's a like think global, act locally. So you could our view can be really broad. You can think about them broadly, and then we have to act from where we are. Are you getting it? What I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because of that, the third seven practice of Bodhisattva is a very practical kind of teaching. You have to do it like a very practical way, not really like a just learning, and then kind of leave yourself empty inside. No, you have to fill it like a car. If you want to drive the car and go somewhere else, for example, to go for shopping, it needs fuel, right? And if there's no fuel, is not a fuel or battery, whatever, is not charged, you can't really drive. Same thing, if you want to cultivate our heart, more compassionate person, we need to recharge bits by bits, slowly, slowly, one day by day, minutes by minutes. We can try everything we can, and it's possible. Why not? And of course, that there are people. What you're saying about there are some people who maybe because of the culture or because of the family where they grow up, and by nature, I don't think anybody is a rude or like anybody is cruel. And from young, just newborn baby, how can you say that baby is cruel? No, they just need kind of protection from the maybe the parent or the grandparent or maybe the older sibling or maybe someone who really care about them. I'm sure, right? What are you saying in America that people don't know how to live? It's true. There's some crisis going on in different, you know, in different areas about children do not really brought up like with love and care, and it could influence some of this. It's not really the culture, it's just the way of living changing, the running fast, fast, fast. I don't know, most maybe greed or maybe ignorance, maybe what else you could have. And sometimes it's a little depressing when some people bring this kind of a, some kind of a research data about how many children dying because of lack of medicine or lack of what do you call it, malnutrition, right? There are thousands of children dying malnutrition. I guess mostly in Africa, I think. Africa and some in Asia too, but and there are so many people dying. It's some illness that you could, the treatable, you could, but because of lack of medicine or the proper timely treatment or lack of money or resources, they're dying, and it's everywhere. It's all around the world, and then mostly, I guess, in Africa and different. I don't know what you call it, developed country, and I know like developing country. Where do you get that? People say third world country, exactly. Okay, now this is something very, very practical. We need to talk about it because we are learning it, and then we need to talk and we need to do something, right? Developed country and developing country, or third world, right? What do you call it? Poor people. Okay, now here go. What is poor and what's not poor? And this is my question for you. Scott is like really puzzled. I don't know why it's not going.
Well, they sleep on dirt and they have sort of a shack room, often plastic. That's poor.
Okay, poor is someone who don't have a shelter and a food. That's poor, right?
They sleep on dirt.
No, yeah,
They have
that's
some kind of roof shelter. Maybe
okay.
covered with plastic to keep out rain.
I see.
There's a lot of people like that in the world. I'd like to know how much, but
Mm-hmm.
that's just economically poor.
Economically poor, but
Spirituality, there's some redemption of how they live. Yeah,
exactly.
but so hungry and they need water and they need clean that they're very busy and rarely will you find a bodhisattva in the middle of.
Uh, okay. Yes, what you're saying and what you're saying, there's two different things are there. Here we have we can define what is poor and what is not poor. A really practical question. We deal with it, right? We live with it, right? And I could share this one in my own experience. I was I think 25 years ago. We were in Thailand, traveling in a rural area. It's a group of women, actually, mostly. That we have some men too. We went for like a study tour in Thailand. Okay, we were actually visiting from village to village and meeting, like an NGO, non-governmental organization, mostly run by women who actually look after taking care of, like, for example, we're talking about, street children, or maybe, women who become pregnant unwantedly and then nobody look after them, and they look, there are some organization, they create like a shelter for them and keeping them in very nice place, providing foods and shelters and taking care of the medicine and everything. So really beautiful things are there, and we travel around in a big bus, and we had like a representative people coming from Europe, America, Asia. We are a pretty good group, and it was actually organized by one like a group of women from Thailand who was actually study and work in the United States for some time, and then return back to their home and try to do some service in their country. And we were doing is there was one American nun. She became a nun in Theravada tradition. I think Sister Lin or something. And she had created one college. It's called Mahaparja. What was the name of the college? But anyway, I can't remember the college now. Have created one international school where poor people can come and study for free in a way. But and then also she have created one shelter for the women, teenager. Okay, this is really relevant when we're doing topics. Teenager who get pregnant for not knowingly, and then nobody's looking after them because their parents, the family think, the culture think that they're so ashamed, they're really young, what is it? And then the husband or whoever father, they just they just ignore, not really taking care of. She just left for like a vulnerable, meaning like if nobody was really there for help. And she have created one shelter and medicines, foods, the places, everything is in place. It was really inspiring. I don't. We were just traveling and visiting these different, schools, nunneries, and then groups, and sharing this experience. It was really inspiring. And then while we were driving in the bus, and one lady from Germany, I think part of the organizer, I guess, and then there was another one. Somebody asked me. We were actually sitting in the same, like a row of the seat, and she said, "Do you think Tibet is a developed country?" Because she thought I'm Tibetan. I mean, I'm Tibetan Buddhist, but I'm Indian in a way. Doesn't matter who you are. We are all human beings on this earth. Sorry, this is reality, right? We all live on this, on this earth, the planet, the blue planet, we call it, the blue planet. We are one human being living on this blue planet. All the border conflict, la 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 la. This doesn't make sense, but there are not many people understand this, right? Because of they're making so much restriction. It's everywhere. It's not really just one particular country problem. It's just, anyway. Why I'm sharing this, and she was asking, do you think Tibet is a developed country?
What kind of country?
Tibet.
No.
Developed.
Developed.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. My
I-
oh, okay, okay. She was asking me, do you think Tibet is a developed country, developed? And I was, I just paused. I wasn't sure how to answer that. And because I haven't been to Tibet, but I know Tibet quite well because, I live with Tibetan exile in India.
All geographies have at least a little spot of highly developed.
Mhm.
So you can't say is all Tibet a developing country because there's spots in Tibet that are well, because we know this from the internet, learning all over the world that most places have some skyscraper or something somewhere. Somebody
Right.
developed something. Some rich person has got a spot.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right. Okay.
The national.
That was actually 25 years ago. That was 25 years ago. That my question was, and I was sharing my personal. It was 25 years ago, and I don't know. My answer was kind of interesting. It just came into my mind. Probably literally, I'm not sure whether Tibet is a developed country or not, but mentally, spiritually, I would say highly developed. And then I think she was a German person. I don't know why I answered that. I said that. It's actually 25 years ago. I really think that. It must be like a spiritually and mentally highly developed. But maybe literally that time. Literally, maybe not. And then the Thai women who was organizing of the men in the tour, she said, "Yeah, I like that kind of answer." why I'm saying these things? And but this is a recalling thing now. It's quite, I think it's now the showcase. We don't know. I don't go to that detail. Sorry. Why we are doing that? It came about this, about it's good to know for me too to learn about this.
These communists and like that, how could this possibly be thought of as
Mm,
all these spiritual people?
right. The
That's
thing is,
no section of
s-
the population.
sadly, people are not, like there are awareness among people what is going on is not right, and but that not enough, I guess. Maybe more people need to pay attention of this, what is going on, because the culture, the spirituality, these are, it's more in a way, it's like the world need it. When you say about in different, when you say materially well developed country, let's say, for that, there's so much mental crisis going on, there's so much problem going on, and it's not really blaming, but I was actually, attending some science workshop in India in 2009 to 2013. And there was like a research paper actually published and sharing with us, mostly in America, and how many people have mental illness. For example, what is there's the name of depressed, actually, depression, stress level, anxiety, suicide, and killing, gunshotting, having different, like a school, college, whatever. The the percentage they show in the research paper. The research was done by the national. What I can't remember the name of the who have done it. It's expert people, professor, researcher from universities, prestigious universities. They have done a lot of research about how to really, what kind of, what is America now? I'm sorry. And then the percentage of the, suicidal, and the percentage of the anxiety, depression is very, very high. It's really, really, very high. How many people really kill themselves? It's really, really high. We were really puzzled. What is going on here? Why this is happening? Why I'm asking develop, what do you think? What is developing? Not what is poor is what is poor. What is rich? What is poor and what is rich? You know, yes, we have to have the both balance. The material and the spiritual. And too much. Another word, like recently, Minor Life Institute, they are doing really good job actually, and doing there's people, there are good professor who is teaching in school, colleges, universities, and they're doing research, and then said the learning system, the modern education system in this world, particularly where you said the developed country, let's say developed country, materially developed, maybe mentally too, but maybe there's a room that you could create more mentally developed people. What do you think? Are you meditating? I'm just joking. And there was this word, I like, it was kind of struck by me, this word. It's like the education system we have in present now is like more kind of fear-based learning instead of like a uh, healing center learning, healing based learning. We should have healing based learning instead of fear based learning. And I was just really puzzled why you say fear based learning. And maybe fear based meaning this, you have to work really hard to get like a good percentage, good mark, and good score, and good job, good money, good da 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 da. Da. And that create too much kind of stress.
People feel some pressure.
Yeah, too much pressure, and the professional pressure. And if that become too much, then stress, when you first you have to have stress, and the slowly become kind of anxiety, and then you go depressed. And if you're completely gone mentally depressed, then as you say, they don't know how to they live, right? So from very your home, from your home, if you have children, doesn't matter, you are your children, grandchildren, maybe we have to educate them really, both mind and heart, not really just putting in the information to the head, but try to educate the heart too, meaning let them play in like in nature a little bit and let them take to summer camp, or I don't know, whatever camp. And there's actually somebody's organizing summer camp where for 5 days, and no gadget, no phone, no television, nothing, just go on the mountain and learn each other, which is pretty good, this kind of program. And there are in this kind of program, I'm sure you have in the different schools and like a college and universities. Maybe we need to create more and more this kind of training for the children. And of course, in the grown up or older people need too. But if we create the children like really blooming the flowers, we can have less stress, less anxiety, less depressed, and then we can have people who know how to live their life happily, more content, more human rather than we're different than the dog, I'm sure. We're different than the trees, I'm sure. I'm sorry, why say, you know, Guide to the Bird's Way of Life, and the Bodhisattva Shantideva often says that if someone bully you and like make you fun of you, trouble you, you just remain piece of wood. I mean, in reality, you're not piece of wood, definitely, because your mind is not piece of wood at all. But you just think that I haven't heard about that. Whatever the other people are making fun of you, that's it doesn't hurt my mind at all, because if you get like an uh, annoyed with, maybe not really the person or the not do not don't get annoyed with the person or the person. Instead, just get annoyed with the person anger, or the person aggression, or the person like arrogance, or the person pride. Because of that, this is what he or she is acting, right? Because of lack of understanding what is going on in his or her mind. This is what is happening. I feel so sorry because of your pride. It's really hurting yourself and me. I mean, it doesn't hurt me, but it may be hurting yourself. That was what Bodhisattva Shantideva says. And, and for example, if someone hit you, with a stick, right? It'll hurt, right? Right? It hurt. And then we get angry to the person. And they said, instead of getting angry to the person, maybe you should get angry to the, stick, because if the stick is really make you the, kind of, yes, the person also connected in a way, but there's so many different kind of logic that he used, how to, practice patience is important, is helpful for you. And then others, if someone hit you, if you hit back, and then maybe I don't know how many different types of hitting, and then slowly bombing, right? And then maybe the whole cities, this is happening in the world right now. It's something unthinkable. I really think this is something really unthinkable. Why human are like bombing and just exploding the whole city? We're creating.
We've always been like that. We haven't had internet. And I'm pretty sure that's probably true.
Internet is, if you use the internet correctly, it's very helpful. But if you use it the wrong way, then you could be dangerous. Internet is more like you could use this as a source of information, but the person who is providing information need to be trained well, very trained well, what to report, but of course you to report the reality. You need to report, you need to provide the correct information, the right information, truth information. These are also, kind of information, important thing. Anyway, why we are doing this thing? I'm sorry. It came from the uh, equalizing. I'm sorry.
The tree and you
The-
falling or not.
That's right. Perfect with us one, the nine step the 9 step, how do you really generate compassion, the bodhicitta, the method, equalizing self with others, equalizing the exchanging self with others. Okay, what does it, the very word, what does it really mean? Instead of having too much kind of self-centered attitude, replace on that mental attitude other-centered mind. This is what it really means. Are you getting it? Replace, instead of like a self-centered attitude, thinking too much for yourself, put other-centered mind or other-cherishing mind instead. This is what it really means, the word meaning. The equalizing. And another thing, equalizing mean, we are all equal, who wish good life, who wish happiness, who wish treat well. We are all human being, in the level of human being, we are all same. And the Mother Earth is for us. Everybody have the right to live happily on the Mother Earth. Everybody have the right to have enough food, and everybody have the right to have like a good education. Everybody have right to like live life fully. So this equalizing equanimity makes it try to build up this mind first. We have to create this mental state or a mental attitude. Let's create ourselves like all equal, because physical also equal. You are quite equal, right? We all have 2 eyes, 2 ears, nose, mouth, and then we have similar body. Some are a little bigger, but some are, that's just because of maybe evolution or genetic, whatever. But we need just a food, enough food for us, enough clothes for us. This equal, you have to equalize, making, not really making distinction between you are far than me. You don't agree with me. Why not? Why?
So I don't promote statements that are never gonna happen.
Why not? Why not? I'm just curious.
You knock people off balance when you tell them something that can't be true.
What is that? Can't be true, mean?
Everybody's equal, are you, we are equal.
Why not?
Never, never.
This is good to debate. We learn when you say we
Nice.
debate.
It's a great aspiration. It's nice to tell people these pretty things. But
Right.
the true thing.
Okay, now this we also study about what is true and what is not true. Again, these are all learning process, and what is true and what is not true again.
You better be careful,
Why not? Why?
because not everything is true. Not every sentence is true that a person says.
Uh-huh.
That's why you have to be careful.
What was that? Sorry.
Not every sentence a person
Sentence.
says
Uh-huh.
is true.
I see.
They say it
I see.
and it sounds true.
I see.
But who has the ability to distinguish what's true and not true? Well,
Okay.
people who have a wide knowledge of the world, I suppose, and culture and all sorts of things.
People who have what knowledge.
You can see the bigger picture, maybe.
Right. I agree what you're saying. Yes, majority people do not really get, what, majority, maybe there are like a bigger portion of the people are not aware what is true and what is not true. And then, yes, what do you call it? Another word. People often, what do you call? Have you heard the marginalizing? And taking advantage of the economically poor people, and try to, but mentally nobody can do anything.
What?
Mentally, the spiritual.
That's a good one.
Mentally, nobody can grab. And the mental state, the people who have developed it, like well developed, meaning someone who is really confident about themselves, nobody can steal your compassion. Nobody can steal, like rob you.
Yeah.
Nobody can rob your behavior. Nobody can rob your, like sincerity. Nobody can rob your mental quality. But maybe physically, some people may can torture you. This is happening in some of this communist, regime, authoritarianism, country. This is what is happening in different parts of the world. It's really sad. It's kind of sad, but this is what is happening. That's why we have to have people who really think about broadly. That's why we need to create more people who are really walking on the earth rather than jumping here and there. So this is what the teaching about it. It's not really about promoting any kind of one type of religion in a way. It's more like a teaching us how to live life, correctly as a human being. So it's really true what you're saying is we have to be really practical. We have to be really careful and be practical and be careful is very important too. But too cautious also not right. Too much cautious, it's not right either. And then it stop you to moving forward. It stop you to using your ability, correctly. And like it's stopping you to make your service in a way where there's an opportunity to serve, but then because of selfish reason, some people are bullying each other, and some people think, she or he is bullying her. But that the person is taking as a bullying or not is another question. The person can think that, okay, thank you, you gave me like a time to practice patience. You gave me the time to like become my heart bigger rather than smaller, shrinking. You can have any, you can have any kind of option. There's always possible. Life is full of possibilities. I'm really sure that life is full of possibilities. For example, I mean, for like individual person myself, I don't know. People ask often like, what is your plan for next year? What is your plan for tomorrow? Of course I plan things, and sometimes I said, I don't plan much. I don't know whether I will live tomorrow morning or not, but I just go with the flow. I said, there are people who are there. There are always good people, always comes. Even though there are some people are trying to bully, but the other people come and help you. And then there are people who just make it manipulate you, or the other people come to help you. There are always good people everywhere, because I travel in different parts of the world quite often, and you find always there's always somebody's there. It's lucky in a way. I mean, fortunate. There's always somebody's there to help you, and if not, you just go back to your home and stay in your room. Why not? I'm sorry. This is what you really have. This is okay. It's okay. We are here on this earth, and then doesn't much matter if you are famous or if you are like hierarchy sort of things, and these are just mundane thing. It's a very minimal thing. It's not really that big deal in a way. Anyway, so what are we doing? I think we're supposed to do this. Anyway, there are 9 steps to cultivate this bodhicitta. Bodhicitta is a little far away maybe for me, for maybe true for you, but we have the aspiration. We have the aspiration, right, to cultivate this kind of a mind within yourself. You know, the replace the self-cherishing mind and the other-cherishing mind. You can do that. You can work with it, equalizing. Okay, the 9 out of 9 step, I'll give 2 steps, 2 or 3 today, because you have for 5 minutes. Number one is equalizing. Number one is equalizing self with others. Equalizing self with others here meaning just think that everyone is equal who are seeking happiness and not one suffering. Just put it that way. Number one is equalizing one another, self with others, equalizing one another. And then number two is, reflecting the demerit of cherishing oneself. Reflecting demerit, cherishing oneself. Meaning, what is the consequences of the, selfishness. Reflecting demerit, cherishing oneself. And then the number three is reflecting merit of cherishing others. Reflecting the merit of cherishing others. These three are the today's, we will just, these three, think about this. We just think about this tree today. It's a big word, but it's not possible either. It's possible. Something is possible, definitely. Something is possible, I think. Okay, now we have only 4 minutes, and let's do, what do you call it? Uh, dedication. We dedicate whatever, like a positive thing or good thing that we have created together here. We are how many of us here? I think 12 of that, right? Yeah. 11. That's good. Yeah. So let's have the good aspiration that each one of us can do, can make, with each one of us can contribute for the betterment of humanity. And so we have the capacity as well. And then there are a lot of, you know, rich resources that we have access, and we can move forward it, right? Okay, thank you. So have a good day. We will continue. Don't forget about smiling. It's okay. It's going to be okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.